Hey everyone, Sergeant First Class Bonin here, Alpha Company, 1st of the 22nd Infantry. Just wanted to make a quick video to show some of you a trick that I learned for adding accoutrements to the ribbon rack for your ASUs. So this is an old ribbon rack that I have, and I know I probably already lost a few of you with the word accoutrements. Some of you were like, hey Sergeant, what's that big word you just used? So the accoutrements are things like a V device for Valor, your oak leaf clusters for subsequent awards, campaign stars, arrowheads, etc. that you add on to your ribbon rack. So the reason for doing this is typically your accoutrements come with these prongs on the back that are used to punch through the ribbon, and then the prongs get bent on the back side to hold the accoutrement or the device in place. Some of you, like me, who have been around in the Army for a day or two, have gotten ribbons for different things. The Army sent you on a couple of all expenses paid exotic trips to places like Afghanistan or Iraq, or maybe you got a cool guy medal for doing something high speed like rescuing your readiness NCO from drowning in a pile of overdue NCO ERs. So anyway, you've gotten a few ribbons over the years, and some of those you've gotten some subsequent awards, campaign stars, etc. A few years back I had decided to go on to one of the different websites that offer custom built racks, and I had one made with nice thin ribbons, everything made nice and tight together, and all the accoutrements on there already. Problem is, once you pay for one of these, they're like $40–50 if you've got enough ribbons, and you get awarded one more medal or one more additional award for something, and suddenly the whole rack is messed up because you can't really move these ribbons around, or the things that are on there are put on there permanently. So what you're going to need for this trick is a hot glue gun, your additional devices, and I recommend just a blank sheet of white paper to clean the end of the hot glue gun off in between putting on the different devices. You don't want to use a towel or tissue paper or a Kleenex, because there's a tendency for that to create lint, and that could get caught in the glue and stuck to your ribbon rack. So again, this is my old ribbon rack. I have a couple of devices here that we're going to use to kind of show you. Now I'm going to get rid of my ugly mug out of the video here, and I'm just going to pull the camera in to kind of zoom in. Alright, so as I said, you pay all the money for these nice racks, and then you get one subsequent award or an additional ribbon, and suddenly it kind of gets ruined, and you're like, man, I got to pay $40–50 more just because I got an oak leaf cluster. So one of the things I want to show you is from some of these websites you can actually order things like an oak leaf cluster. You can order them prongless with these already removed off the back. But if you're just at the PX or the clothing and sales, you could just buy these ones with the prongs, and all you got to do is bend them back and forth a couple of times on the back. They'll get loose and eventually they'll break off, and you want to do this without the prongs on. So there you go, there's one broken off. I'm going to break the other one off here. And so now there's the back of the oak leaf. It's essentially prongless at this point. So here's my rack. For me, I've got an oak leaf on my MSM, a couple on my RCOM there, and I already took off the campaign stars and the numeral for the NCO PD ribbon. But anyway, all you're going to do to make this work is you've got your hot glue gun warmed up. You're going to add just a tiny dab of glue to the back of the oak leaf or whatever device you're trying to add. You want this to be pretty much as small as possible. Just a little bit on there. And if you get a little bit too much, don't worry. You can just let the glue dry, peel it off, and start again. That's the beauty of working with hot glue. So all I have is a tiny little dab on there. I hope you can see that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that in place on the ribbon after it dries. I should have said that before. Just a couple other things I should have said before. anytime you're working with your uniform, your ASUs, your ribbon rack, etc. Always just make sure you wash your hands, make sure that the tools and stuff that you're working with are clean, you have a nice clean work surface so that you don't rub any smears and stuff on your ribbon rack. You should take some pride in your uniform, alright, and that should be evident when you're working on your uniform and when you're wearing it, alright. So I put that little oak leaf in place, I get it about where I want it. It doesn't have to be perfect because I've already let the glue dry, okay. One of the beauties of working with the hot glue this way is that the glue doesn't smear the ribbon itself, and if I try to put it on with the prongs here, I'm sorry for getting my hand in the camera, but if I put it on with these prongs here over and over again trying to get it just right, I have a tendency to punch holes through the ribbon. I push the threading around on the ribbon gets dilapidated, and if I have to take that device off and add something on later, such as another award, it's harder and harder to use the same ribbon over and over again. This technique preserves the ribbon and it allows you to use the devices elsewhere. If you take one off and add a second on, you can save that and use it for another ribbon. But anyway, now that it's just sitting there, what I'm going to do is I just use the hot glue gun to apply glue. I'm just going to take a piece of clean paper. I'm going to wipe the end of the hot glue gun off so that I don't have any residual glue on the tip of the glue gun. And I'm actually just going to hold the tip of the glue gun. Notice my finger's not on the trigger just like any other gun. I'm not planning on firing it, so I want my finger away from the trigger. Avoid any negligent discharges of glue here. I'm going to hold the hot tip of the hot glue gun against the metal device. And that heat's going to transfer through the metal and it's going to rewarm the glue until the glue melts again. The reason I do it this way is if I'm trying to get the device in place while the glue is still hot, I might smear it and not get it in the right spot. So what I do, I heat the metal up again, it warms up. Once it's nice and warm, I can take the glue gun away. I can make any final adjustments while the glue is still warm to get the device where I want it, canted the right way. And then once it's where I want it, I just leave it there. The glue will cool, and once it cools, that device is glued in place. It's not going to move again unless I want it to. Now the beauty of using this technique, or one of the beauties of using this technique, is when I come back to this ribbon a year from now or 2 years from now, that device is still going to be glued in place. But I do something else high speed, get another award, alright, or I go to another level of my NCOES, I need to change the Roman numeral out, or just the numeral, excuse me. I can just take the hot glue gun, alright. Now notice that's not moving when I push on it, it's on there pretty good. I can just take the hot glue gun, again making sure that the tip is clean, and I hold it to the metal on the device. Maybe 10 seconds or so. And once it starts to warm up, it's going to heat that glue up again. Now this doesn't matter if I just did it 5 minutes ago or 5 years ago. Alright, my 2 on my NCOPD ribbon has been there for about 5 years and I just took it off with the same technique today. It doesn't make a difference how old the hot glue is. So I warm it up and off it comes. Alright, now you can see once it touched my skin, it started to cool off again right away and it actually starts to stick to my skin. I mean, it's not burning or anything like that, but that's just how the hot glue works. So that's pretty much it. It's a nice easy way to preserve your ribbons, to reuse the different devices that you have to take on and off, and each time that you take one on and off you don't have to worry about ruining the ribbon just because you changed the device that was on it. It preserves the ribbons and it helps you keep a nice, clean, serviceable, and professional looking uniform. So this is the first time I've ever made an instructional video. I think at this point I'm supposed to tell you that if you liked it, give it a thumbs up, and your comments and any tips that you have for your uniforms are welcome in the comments section below. Thanks for watching. Rangers lead the way.